All right, let's look at the cash flow every year. If you had to look at one thing when you look through these documents, you can see that I'm pretty patient and I go through them slowly. If you have to look at one thing, right, it's this. Net cash provided by operating activities. $4 billion in 2020, $5 billion in 2021, $6 billion in 2022, right? That is really their business, right? The income statement has so much stuff going on in it that it's basically useless. Right? If you look at the income statement, the net income is just whatever. It's just a big blah. Half the net income is coming from a tax rebate. Like, whatever, right? The only thing in the income statement you can really look at is revenue. In the case of Salesforce. So many accounting tricks. No, cash flow is going up, right? So this is 2020. It reads from chronologically from left to right. So 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion. So pretty good growth. But remember, there's no such thing as an asset that's unmoored from its price. Every asset you'll ever look at, there's a right price and a wrong price. And it's an investor's job to determine the two. Good company, bad company. Let me really drill this home, because everybody gets this wrong, and it pisses me off, because it's the number one lesson in investing. You know, there's a 2x2 matrix. Good company, bad company. Good price, bad price. What are you looking for in investing? What are you looking for? Which boxes? Good company, bad company. Good price, bad price. So this box is good company, good price. Well, that seems pretty obvious, right? We want that. That seems pretty obvious. Maybe Berkshire Hathaway or something like that. All right. Bad company, bad price. Maybe like an Enron or FTX. Obviously, we don't want that, right? No go. But what about these two? This one's tricky. Do we want a good company at a bad price? What's a good company? Well, we just said Berkshire Hathaway, right? What if Berkshire Hathaway stock market cap was $10 trillion? That's a bad price. Right now the price is 5% of that, right? 95% off. So why would you pay 20 times what it costs in the stock market right now? That'd be a bad price. I don't want that. Okay, well, let's pick a bad company. What's a bad company? A company with deteriorating fundamentals. I think AT&T is a good example of a bad company, right? AT&T, Verizon, all the telecom companies. Or how about all the old media companies like Paramount or Viacom or even Disney? Like, some of these companies are really going to get disintermediated by social media. What else is a bad company? Probably Snapchat right now is struggling. What else? What's a bad company that you wouldn't want to be in? A newspaper company? Maybe Gannett, Best Buy, Tribune, a radio company. Bad company. GameStop is definitely a bad company. Yeah, these are companies with bad fundamentals, right? But if you got them at a really good price, if somebody said, I'll sell you Best Buy for $1 million right now, and you know the market cap is in the billions, you're going to take it. You're going to say this is the greatest opportunity of a lifetime, and you're going to sell it to private equity as fast as possible, right? So all we really care about is, are we getting a good price? It kind of doesn't matter if it's a good company or bad company. It kind of doesn't matter if cash flow is going up or down, right? We just have to put it into our calculator and determine, is the price we're getting good? Is, on a scale of value, right? I don't have my drawing tool here, so this is a little sloppy. On a scale of value, wherever the value hits, right, that should be, this is sort of like the barrier, right? This is the most we'll ever pay. And if we can get the stock at this price, we'll buy it, right? And if we get the stock at this price, we don't want to buy it. We want to short it. So we just have to figure out, okay, what's the value that I can get my hands on? And sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's hard. For Salesforce, this company's making $6 billion, made $6 billion last year. Probably this year they'll make $7 billion. Is that worth $138 billion? Well, if they made $7 billion every year, it would take you 20 years to get your money back. That's pretty good, actually, because if the earnings are growing rapidly, and rapidly doesn't have to be as rapid as you might think. For example, let's assume this year $7 billion. Because free cash flow is growing faster than that, 25, 11, so I would say grow 17%. And they have a lot of costs they can cut, right? So let's call this growth rate right here, okay? Let's assume they can grow 8% a year for, say, 15 years. Or maybe say 10 years, just 10 years. Okay? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and after that, they just grow 1%. How about that? And they're a top software company, so it kind of makes sense. All right, now we're going to pick a discount rate. To 8%. Now we take the net present value, so we discount every cash flow. And in fact, we should stretch this out even further, just to make sure. All right, so we get 164 billion. You know what's amazing? That's almost exactly the stock price. Every time we do one of these things, we get a stock that's fairly valued. Why? This market's pretty efficient. You know, there's not a lot of bargains out there. Everybody's doing the same work we're doing, and even though you would think something like a stock price is totally random, here it is. I did some calculations and I got this number, and I want to update the balance sheet because the number's a little bit better than that. The current stock price, so maybe Salesforce is a little cheap, but they have around $7 billion in cash in the bank net. So I'm going to add that as well, because that is part of the company. All right, so I get 170 billion, which per share is $171. The current stock price is 146. Is that enough of a bargain for us to take action and buy the stock? Probably not. That's only 16%. You know, it's basically useless. You know, it'd have to be a double or something like that for me to be interested. Will they double? Can they double? Well, if we assume they're going to grow 8% for 10 years, to be worth a double, they would probably have to grow, what do you guys guess, 10%, 12%? Do you want to do the math? With this model, all I have to do is punch in a number, right? I can just punch in a number. Let me punch in 9%. If they grow 9%, oh, okay, well, then the stock's worth 183. If they grow 10%, okay, stock's worth closer to like 200. If they grow cash flow 11% a year, all right, now we're talking 211. If they grow cash flow 12%, now we're talking about a stock maybe worth buying. It's 225. If they grow cash 15%, okay, now we're talking about a double. And you might say, Martin, they were growing cash 15%. Look, 11, 25, 17, I think that averages out to roughly 15%. So why won't they keep growing cash at 15%? Well, the revenue growth has slowed down, right? All the way down to 9%. And the stock market can do these calculations too. And the stock market is kind of valuing it like it's going to grow, quite frankly, more like 7% a year. So the stock market's not stupid. If it was obvious they were going to grow 15%, the stock would be at 300. But it seems to be becoming more and more obvious that the growth will slow down. So that's kind of why the stock is where it's at. You know, people are starting to get skeptical of like, I don't know if Salesforce can grow 20% every year. Now, if in this next quarter, they say that next year, in fiscal year 23, we're going to grow, or I should say fiscal year 24, we're going to grow revenue by 15%, then the stock will rally tremendously. And that's why tech stocks are so volatile. It's because everyone's trying to figure out this. What is the long-term growth rate of earnings? Right? And you know, things like interest rates and stuff like that you guys are asking about, they do impact the discount rate. But if I use the same discount rate for Microsoft and for Oracle and for other software companies, then it doesn't really change the way I look at the discount rate for Salesforce. You know, it doesn't matter, right? So, you know, it's pretty much irrelevant. You know, if I use the same discount rate, you know, interest rates impact all the companies kind of pretty similarly. So as long as I keep the discount rate kind of similar across all the companies, and it doesn't make much of a difference. So I can put the NPV here, and you can see for Amazon I use 8% discount rate as well, but I get a stock price that's double. So Amazon seems a lot cheaper, right? And I have a +1 terminal, and I have, well, I don't have ROIC for Salesforce, which maybe makes it a little undervalued, but regardless, it looks like I'm using kind of the same framework, and it looks like Salesforce is a lot cheaper than Amazon. So I'm just going to upload this model. You can get all these models on my GitHub totally for free. I'm never going to charge you guys for anything. I don't need to do that.